Hey, it's me, Angie. I'm here in my studio and guess what? I turn 42 this coming week on May 6th, and my sweetie's taking me to the Redwood forest to go hiking for like a whole week, and that's something I've wanted to do for a long time, like forever. So I'm really excited, and I was like, oh, I will make like a little tree out of clay, and it'll be like a fast little video that I can just get done because I'm doing 800 million things before we leave in a couple days. And yeah, I ended up spending like way more time, but it kind of made me think about like one thing that I think is kind of cool about my work, and I'm not the only one out there that has this aspect to their work, but like I'm kind of the opposite of a perfectionist, and I just like dive into stuff, like even this whole YouTube thing, and oh, look at all these fun chords. See, you can tell I'm just a diver in her because I'm just like not perfectionist. Anyways, so what my point is like, I think because even though I can like really plan out a project and I can get really detailed and like do some of that work, and hopefully I'll be able to share some stuff like that with you over the time that I'm on the YouTube, but I think that like my sort of like just do like jump in and do it, which is definitely how this project went. I like did not have a plan. I just started making a tree, and like I, took some turns throughout just trying to keep it together and make it work. And so it's not always like the most best way to do something, but sometimes it is, and it's especially a really good way to like start if you haven't done like clay work or artwork before, to just kind of not care what your end result is and just go for it. That's kind of how I've like built a lot of the skills I have with clay, is just by like going for the idea in my head and not always getting there, but like eventually like learning stuff that does like kind of get you where you want to go with it. But so yeah, all the talking. So I'm gonna bring my camera because it's on my phone like everyone else in the world, but I'm gonna take some video of the forest when I'm in there and put it in this video a little bit. So my tree probably isn't gonna look anything like those giant sequoia trees out there in the Redwood forest, but you know what? It's gonna look like my tree. And you can watch me make it now. Alright, happy birthday to me. I hope you're all off to a fabulous start of your weekend. Bye. So like I said, this is kind of, not a perfectionistic endeavor. I'm really just going with the flow. I wouldn't even want to call this a tutorial, although, humans can learn in all sorts of ways. So I suppose watching me make this is you can learn something. I'm just kind of like, twisting up a couple of dark brown and chocolate brown, pulling some little nubs of tree roots out, and you'll see later they don't turn out to be at all like good physics because there ends up being so much on top that definitely doesn't work. So I'm just gonna go through, and it's funny because like this is what I do. I use this little tool to make fur on like furry monsters and animals and stuff. However, it also makes really nice looking bark. So I'm just kind of, etching this up, get it kind of bark like, and then I'm kind of looking at it like, I need some branches and I don't have any. So I'm like thinking about that while I just kind of do this random thing. I'm making some like indents with my, what I call my smoothing tool. That's just a knitting needle. And just kind of embedding that in there and then like pressing it in with the tool. And I just kind of doing that all over. And then I'm gonna do like the bark over the top of that as well. And you know, this could have been swirled in as well to get some of that. I don't know, I just, like I said, I'm just winging it. So I'm just adding this in there. Looks kind of like lava or something spilling down, but it kind of blends in as I go. Spend a lot of time doing that and shaping these a little more. So yeah, I think I'm gonna realize that I need to cut. Yeah, there we go. Just kind of cutting some main branches there right off the top. Smoothing the inside out and a little bit more. Now I have like 0 wire in this so far, which is kind of silly. I end up adding some like way later. But yeah, this is definitely like a project that needs wire, so I'm not really sure what I was doing. Then I just decided to like make this like skinny sort of vine-like thing and wrap it all over the tree. Just seemed like the thing to do all of a sudden. It was not in my mind at all, but I kind of like it. It looks pretty cool. So I'm glad I did that. One thing is you can kind of think about it like a mock-up for like how I would do it in the future. Like when I make my kits, for instance, I make 1 or 2 or 3 versions of the character before I decide to take all the photos and like put the kit together. And I don't always do that with my artwork, but something like this I might, because like as I made this, I realized that there are like some really structural things that I could definitely do better and get like a much more decent and beautiful piece at the end. I'm gonna say I still think this is really cool in the end, but I think I could do a lot better, especially having done this once. Like this is literally, I think like the second tree I ever made, and the first one I made was probably over 20 years ago. So not bad for just like shot in the dark with the tree. But so I make this like kind of canopy of green, and I keep trying to stick a wire in there where I should have in the beginning, and it's not working, so I just give up. But then here I'm gonna roll just a whole bunch of tiny little leaves. Somewhere in here I start remembering that I have this like cool mesh, wire mesh that's really great that you can just cut into whatever shape. It's really great for polymer clay and doing certain shapes and having them be more stable and sturdy and stuff. So somewhere in here I start to remember that I have that, and I go find it. But here, these, in my mind, these are like little leaves for the vine. And dun, 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 I'm just making a ton of leaves. I was adding the leaves, and now I'm like, you know what? I need this mesh. So, and here I'm just kind of like making a random shape. And I got a nice flat piece of clay there with my pasta machine. I'm just wrapping it around this. I'm not really being very concerned at all about like how covered or smooth or anything this is. Just using my knife and like some tools to cut some holes. There's probably way better ways to do this. This is the way I did it. Just get it on there like that. Now I'm gonna start doing this, and then I just have to make leaves like 100 more times. Alright, so I'm adding a bunch of the leaves I made still. And then I realized I have this leftover like mesh pieces and that the leaves are kind of looking a little flat like that. So I want to give it some more volume, those leaves. So it was kind of falling over there in a certain direction. So I ended up having to add another of the larger roots kind of in the back there to keep it stable. Adding this sort of like a second branch on top for the same idea as the wire mesh. Just adding some more volume back there. I used all the extra wire mesh. I didn't want to cut anymore, so that's kind of just why I did that. After I do some more of this, for a while I realized that I have to put that wire in there, and I end up sort of like stabilizing the tree with more wire. Lots more leaves. More leaves, more leaves, more leaves. All right, now I'm thinking like, gosh, this green all looks really nice and pretty, but it would be more pretty with some pink flowers. So I start getting some pink together. Then I'm like, no, we need more pink. So I kind of just like cut these up into pieces. Again, like I'm not exactly sure like what I was gonna do. I was like thinking like, am I gonna do individual petals? But then I'm thinking I have to get up. I have 3 appointments tomorrow. I have to like clean and pack and whatever and get ready. So I decided to just do these like fast little like roll them up type things and do the hot pink in the middle and the light pink on the outside. This is where I'm like, I need to stick a wire in there. Pretty sure that would be a good idea. Yeah. So yeah, I just make a bunch of these like simple flowers. I don't do any detail in the middle, but I still think it looks really cool just like this more simple way that I'm doing it. I think it would be fun though to kind of take this same concept and now that I've done it to plan out another one. I know I still stand by and think it's really true that not having a plan and just diving in is like a great way to start and a really fun way to keep doing art. I do lots and lots of art that way, but sometimes it also is fun to really plan it out and like have a roadmap and realize what, you know, steps would be more efficient to get like better, so I'm not like smushing up the little green leaves while I'm working on the rest of it. Another thing that you could do with this clay that I didn't do is you can kind of bake it in between. So like I could have baked the trunk, for instance, and then started adding leaves, and then I could bake the top canopy of leaves and then put on like the vine and the little leaves and so on. That is definitely a nice way to not like get your fingernail prints and like push everything all around and have it falling over on you and all this stuff. But hey. So just a few little finishing touches. And gonna get it into the oven here pretty quick. I made it out to the forest and these are like the biggest trees I've ever seen. You guys, I just can't even like explain this like looking at this through the camera doesn't even come close to what this looks like in person. Like, if I move my head around and like, and then I look through the camera, it's insane. This is so gorgeous, majestic even. It's just like ridiculous, like giant tree after giant tree. Just beautiful old forest. So here we go. I've got it out of the oven and I have it on this handy little spinny thing that's really made for kiln fire clay but works great for polymer clay too. I'm just getting the glaze out that I want and I'm just glazing it all up here. This is a Golden brand acrylic matte. The only thing is, it used to be a lot more matte than it is now. I feel like it's kind of a satin, but it's still nice and it still works really good. I'm gonna cover everything so that it holds everything together. I'm surprised that only like 3 of these leaves fell off. I think one of them falls off while I'm glazing it. The other couple I glued on before I started filming this glazing. But yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that I get everything covered, get in between everything, get every like flower and leaf and branch and vine and everything just totally coated. I'm getting some little bubbles on there, so I think it's because the brush was kind of too fluffy and maybe had a little bit of water in it still from washing it. So here we go. I'm gonna flip it over and just kind of hold it in my hand there while getting underneath everywhere. As you can see, I didn't completely cover the underside with leaves. If I were gonna like do this again and really plan it out, there's quite a few things I would do differently. Maybe I'll do another video and make another tree that's taller and has more leaves. So yeah, I'm just glazing underneath here, making sure to get in between all the cracks and everywhere to like hold it all together, because like I said, the glaze kind of acts like a glue and it seeps into the pores of the clay and makes it stronger. So there we go. Got it all glazed up. Ta-da! I hope you like this tree and I hope that you're excited for me that I got to go to the Redwood forest where I've wanted to go since I was a tiny little baby and didn't even know what the Redwood forest was. I still wanted to go there. All right, I hope you have an awesome weekend. Bye.